Escape the dungeon!
Hello, everybody. This is Escape the Dungeon, the podcast where we ask you to join us as we explore the world beyond the world's oldest role-playing game. My name is Mike Cripps, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies?
Whoa.
And I am joined by 4 mystifying players.
Ew.
Zach Brass,
That's me.
Dom Brass,
That's me.
Nate Brass,
Hello, Internet. That's me, and today I'll be playing myself as we talk about our characters.
and joining us at the table for the first time, Tyler Knittle.
And I'm here too.
It is kind of the first time, but he was in the last episode, and we're not really playing
Shush.
yet.
We are. This is gameplay.
This is
Each
gameplay.
season we will be playing a different tabletop role-playing game. This season we are playing Urban Shadows 2nd Edition, a powered by the Apocalypse game published by Magpie Games.
Woo. Woo.
Yay! I'm excited.
I say this is gameplay because while this would be your typical session 0 character creation type stuff, it's pretty cool and it's pretty involved, and making a single character involves all the players at the table in a way that I think is really fun. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Guys, this is our new season of Escape the Dungeon. Listeners, thank you for joining us as we get ready to start our Urban Shadows campaign. If you have stuck with us since our first season, thanks for sticking along. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. We're really looking forward to this season. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be urban fantasy, politicking, shenanigans. We did put out an episode 0. If you want to get to know us a little bit better and you haven't listened yet, be sure to check that out. We like to start these episodes with a little bit of just fun icebreaker banter. And so that's what we're going to do before we get to our gameplay.
God, you're making me nervous.
No, guys, I have a question that I think is semi-related to our new game, because Urban Shadows is a game very much about place. It is about a city. In our case, it will be a game about the city of Las Vegas. But I don't want to talk about Vegas right now. I want to talk about our favorite places or types of places. Do you guys have what you would describe as your favorite place in the world?
Not really, but I
Yeah,
can
no,
come up with something for sure.
I got like places I like, but I don't like to pick favorites. It's like it's like picking a favorite child. They're all great locations and cities and not cities.
No. I don't care about cities. I care about
A very specific place.
Is there either a very specific place or a general type of place that you love more than anything else?
I like mountains.
A mountain. What is it that you like about mountains so much, Tyler?
Well, you can strap a piece of wood to your feet, or 2 pieces of wood, when it snows and is icy, and you can go down them really, really fast, and it's a whole lot of fun.
There you go.
And I guess part of it's like genetic. I'm of German heritage, but it's okay. We've been in America since 1750. We were not in Germany when things were bad.
How do you feel about forests? Not from that part of Germany, or?
I have no earthly idea. Well, I know the name of the boat my family arrived on, and supposedly Ben Franklin greeted them in Philadelphia, but screw him, he didn't like German people.
Very good. How about Nate? Do you have like a particularly favorite specific place, type of place?
No.
Oh man, Nate likes houses with internet.
I like woods. You know, I like going out to the woods. Maybe there's a river nearby. That's probably like the coolest thing.
And you guys are nature boys, huh?
We were all Boy Scouts. What do you expect?
Yeah, dude.
I like all these things too, but to be different, I actually love going through exploring cities. Like I love walking through a crowded city, like just anonymous in a big group of people.
I think my 3 favorite types of places are movie theaters, bookstores, and art museums. And I think what all 3 of those things have in common is when you go there, you're just supposed to be kind of quiet and take in art, and like that's what you're there for. And I find that very peaceful and rewarding, and I could spend like all day in an art museum, just walking through the galleries, taking everything in. That is like perfect to me.
Interesting. Yeah, no, you've convinced me further with my answer. I love I actually really love walking around places and seeing lots of things. And there's a little I enjoy more than when I go and visit a new city and I just wander around the streets, like either by myself or like with one other person, just like aimlessly, just like winding around, just like, seeing what's up, getting a million steps in.
Yeah, for sure. I love that too. Becky and I just took a trip to the UK, Edinburgh and London mostly, and just walking around those places was so cool. And it was like, I don't know, we don't have places like that in America, It felt like walking around in a fantasy world, or just, castles could be anywhere.
Did you go to a soccer match?
No, I did not. Maybe next time. And I'll be the obnoxious American being like, why are they only kicking the ball? Why isn't it shaped like an oval?
Let's go, sports team.
Speaking of bad reputations, I think it's time to get started. Guys, we are going to make characters for our Las Vegas-based urban fantasy campaign, Urban Shadows. I've read the character creation setup and rules pretty thoroughly. I might get some stuff wrong, but I really like it, and I'm excited to get into it. So before we talk about any specific characters, the thing we need to talk about is place. Like I said, we are setting this game in Las Vegas, but that is not specific enough because we want to also choose a city hub. This is where the majority of the game is going to take place. Not all of it. You'll be able to leave, go other places, see other things, but it is the central location and represents the core theme of the game. Now, the book provides 4 different city hubs to choose from, each of which is tied to one of the 4 circles in the game that represent the different kinds of supernatural powers vying for control of the city. We've got the art district, which is the wild circles hub, wild being otherworldly creatures such as demons, fairies, and even weirder stuff. We've got City Hall, which is the Mortalis controlled hub. Mortalis being the circle of everyday normal humans that are aware of magic and the supernatural. We've got the University, which is the hub of power, of humans that are able to control or command magical forces such as wizards and oracles. But the one that we've chosen to primarily focus on is the downtown hub, which is the hub of night, of creatures that were once human but transformed and have become vampires, werewolves, ghosts, or other creatures. You guys excited about that?
I am.
Yeah, dude, let's go downtown.
So, as we start building up our characters, let's think about how they tie into the world of night, the world of downtown. In Vegas, casinos and nightclubs and hotels and dangerous crime-riddled streets. Ooh. This is where our characters will call home. And so with that in mind, let's go one by one and talk about the characters that you'll be playing. How about we start with Nate? Nate,
that's me.
In Powered by the Apocalypse games such as Urban Shadows, you design your character by picking from playbooks, which, define your character abilities and options and everything. What playbook did you choose for our game?
I went with the wizard because I want to cast magic spells at people.
Yeah, that sounds like what a wizard does. What drew you? Anything more specific that you want to talk about of what you found interesting about wizard?
I think it was like one of the first lines in the book on the wizard is just like a thirst for power, which it felt very thematically perfect for what we were doing. Obviously, I think every playbook is thematically right for this, but it just felt like kind of what I wanted to go for. I like to look at what upgrades do you get? What am I actually after? What am I trying to get to? And the wizard just kind of spoke to me. And then hearing what everyone else wanted to play, it seemed like the best party fit to kind of ground us all out.
Very cool. Like I said earlier, character creation is to some extent a group effort, but for now I just want to focus on the things that you get to decide about your character, Nate. So let's start with a name. Does your character have a name?
Yes, I'm going to be Christina Bello.
Christina Bello. And tell us about your character's look.
Probably 5'7" wearing heels, so decently tall-ish, but not a tall person. Wearing just a scruffy kind of jacket, and a button-up shirt that looks like they probably slept in it. Black curly hair that's tied in a messy ponytail, and just kind of looks like they are trying to take on too much. Sometimes you see someone who's they're doing too much. They're not sleeping enough. They're doing a lot. And I think that is the vibe.
For sure. And I think that leads into the next aspect, which is your character's demeanor. Something that at a glance, like anyone would just kind of be able to tell or pick up on about your character. Each playbook has a list of like 4 or so options for this. This is not like necessarily super prescriptive of how your character must behave, but it's just a good catch-all for the kind of character that that Christina might be.
I think beleaguered is a good one.
Yeah, beleaguered. Christina, the beleaguered wizard. The next part is that you have to assign stats to your character. Now, Urban Shadows has 4 stats. Almost any action you take is going to involve a roll of one of these stats. They are blood, which is a measure of your toughness, instinct, physical ability. Heart, which is your charm or charisma. There is mind, which is your intellect, trickery, and perception. And there is spirit, which is your character's magical aptitude, inner strength, and willpower. Now, your playbook does set all of these stats to a range between -1 and +1. So one of these stats you're not very good at by default, 2 that you might be better at. But you get to add +1 to any one of those 4 stats. So what do you start out as a wizard, and what are you going to add to?
So I start with 0 in blood, -1 in heart, and 1 in mind and spirit. Think I'm gonna add 1 to spirit, though I may change my mind at some point to mind. I'm between those two, but I'm going with spirit for now.
Sounds good. So you're gonna stay not very, physically strong or particularly not very charismatic. Very fun. So next is your circle rating, representing how well your character understands each of those 4 circles, those 4 groups of power within the city: Mortalis, Night, Power, and Wild. Just like with your character stats, you're going to start with a certain rating in each of those, and you get to add 1 to any of those. So what are those as a wizard for you?
Starting for a wizard, it is 0 in Mortalis, -1 in Night, and 1 in Power and Wild. So I think I'm going to add 1 to Wild, giving me 2 knowledge in Wild.
Interesting. And Wizard is a power-based playbook. So you are starting with more knowledge in a different circle than the one that you quote unquote belong to. So that's interesting. A few more things real quick. You're going to start with status in each of those circles. This is just going to default to in power. Your status will be 1. And what that means is that every character in the game has status from 0 to 3, representing how important you are, how powerful you are politically. And you guys are all going to start at 1 status in whichever circle your playbook belongs to. So you will start at power 1. And the last few things here is each playbook has a list of questions about your character. These don't have to be super in-depth, just give me like a few words to answer each of these. And they'll develop as we play to some extent, and between sessions, you can flesh these out some more. But as a wizard, your questions are: 1, how did you learn to wield magic?
So for how did I learn to wield magic, I think mostly self-taught, intense study, kind of classic wizard vibes.
Sure. How long have you been in Las Vegas?
About like 6 to 8 months. Fairly new.
What mistake keeps you up at night?
Chris, she came from New York where she was trying to, play the game, play the system, and kind of tried, walking over some powerful, status 3 NPCs in that city, and it did not go well for Chris or their allies.
So with what mistake keeps you up at night, do you think this is more of like embarrassment of failure, or is this more like the people that I screwed over or messed up in front of like might come and get me?
If I hadn't screwed up, like I'd still be in New York, like status 2+, and like I completely screwed up, like lost like the lives of some allies, the trust of some other allies, and kind of like, I guess, fled the city in shame, kind of.
Cool. Very cool. What have you sacrificed for your power? Sort of related to the previous one, I guess.
Everybody. I don't have much of a close-knit group right now. I am more viewing people as pieces on the chessboard to play. And I think, yeah, sacrificed a social life kind of at this point.
And what conflict are you trying to mediate?
So that's going to connect with all of my other stuff, I feel, with my award, if you want to just jump into that.
Well, before we get to that, so we'll loop back to that question. But just going in order, your starting gear. What kind of equipment and resources does Chris have at disposal?
Simple house, a crappy car, a decent smartphone, a sanctum, and a snub-nosed revolver. Because who needs to attack with magic when you have guns?
Very cool. You also get some. So the specific actions that you guys will take in this game are called moves. There are some core moves that are available to everybody. There are playbook specific moves. I don't really want to get into those today. I think those will come out in play, and we'll come to those when we come to them. But rest assured, those are things that will get revealed soon. But Nate, the last few things for your character that I want to talk about now, you mentioned them. As a wizard, you get a sanctum and a ward, a place of magical potency that you can use for various projects and research and everything, and a ward, a person who has been trusted to you for you to guide or protect or whatever. And these are unique things to the wizard playbook. And for both of those, you get to make some decisions about what benefits and downsides they may offer you. So let's start with your sanctum. What are the features of your sanctum that you have selected?
Yes, I have a fancy sanctum that has a mystical prison, a focus circle, a library of old tomes, and an extremely knowledgeable assistant. Because who doesn't love when the GM can just tell you stuff?
Nice, nice.
But it does have 2 downsides.
Yeah. What are those?
Its location is known by many, and it attracts otherworldly attention.
Oh,
I
those
love
are
it. Those are my
fun.
favorite. Those were the ones I was gonna pick if I was a wizard.
That's cool. I like that. And then you also have a ward, a status 3 member of your circle, a very, very important person, one of the most important people in the city, has trusted you to take care of someone.
Yes.
Tell me, why do they need protection?
They are the secret child of an influential and powerful enemy, and a gifted mage in need of a teacher and guardian.
And why did you agree to this arrangement?
Your membership in a faction compels your agreement. I have moved into the city in order to make some power plays. So agreeing to this and having a third status, I don't know, person in the city kind of owe me a favor seemed like a good idea. And I am also in love with my ward.
Oh,
Classic.
Wow, awesome. Were you in love with them before they became your ward, or is this like a student-teacher romance that we should probably frown upon?
Okay, so I am teaching them magic. We are around the same age. It's just like...
Justify it however you want, Christina.
Yeah, right. Fucking grooming over here, dude.
Do you have a name for your ward?
I do not. I have a set name. Though I was thinking the influential and powerful enemy would be a leader of some kind of angel faction.
Okay,
Ooh.
cool. They are the secret child of an angel enemy. Ooh, that's juicy. Well, that is our wizard for now, Christina. How about we go to our newest player, Tyler? Tyler, what playbook are you playing, and what drew you to them?
I'm playing the Aware because he's just a guy.
Just a guy who knows that magic exists.
Yep.
Just like you and me.
Well, let's talk about some of your character's details. First being, do you have a name for this character?
Dale Tillman.
I like Dale Tillman a lot, Tyler. I think that's a great name.
My parents were NASCAR fans. Raise hell, praise Dale.
Okay, so, maybe subject to change, but I like Dale. Tell me about Dale's look.
Total dad fashion. He's got it all. He's got the cargo shorts. He's got the sandals and socks. He's got the plaid button-up shirt. And the glasses. And a beard. And a beer gut. Oh, and his shirt. His favorite shirt. It's got a flying saucer on it with a little tractor beam coming down. And underneath it says, I want to believe.
Very dad fashion. I like that. And what about Dale's demeanor?
Composed.
Composed. He keeps it together. I like that. What are your starting stats, and what are you going to give a +1 to?
I have a 0 in blood, 1 to heart, -1 to mind, and +1 to spirit. And I'm going to give 1 to heart.
Okay. What are your starting circle ratings, and what are you going to give a +1 to?
I have a 1 in mortalis, 0 in night, 1 in power, and -1 to wild. I'm going to stick another 1 into mortalis.
Dale knows, the goings on of the mortal world, the mundane. Maybe a little lost when it comes to demons and fairies, but
Look, man, I only just learned about this shit.
And then because the Aware is a Mortalis playbook, you're going to start with 1 status in the Mortalis circle. Your intro questions: how did Dale discover the supernatural?
So it's actually tied to one of my deaths. Someone who was close to me knew about the paranormal, supernatural, and didn't tell me when it mattered. But I guess we'll get into that a little later.
Something that might come up in a little bit, but give me the footnotes here.
Well, my character is a conspiracy theorist, but not like the bad kind that's ruining everything. You know, I was just getting into all those rabbit holes and starting to get just a little bit too close to the truth.
So somebody eventually brought you in, like, actively. It wasn't an accident. It was like somebody bringing you into the supernatural world.
Yeah, it was for my own good. I was getting a little too close to things I really wasn't prepared to understand unless someone gave me a heads up as to what was up.
So you've always had an inkling, but one day somebody confirmed it for you.
Yes, but not in the way I thought.
How long have you been in Las Vegas?
All my life.
Born and raised. And about how old would you say Dale is?
Like 40, 45.
Okay, cool. What mortal commitments keep you from leaving your old life behind?
My family got an ex-wife, but, you know, still trying to rekindle that flame, maybe.
So people. Like,
Yeah.
It's the people in your life.
Absolutely.
What mortal aspiration have you given up?
Basically, having a normal life. Like, once you become aware, you know, nothing's the same. I can't have the American dream again, knowing what I know. No white picket fence, no dog, no kid. You know what I mean. It just can't happen.
And lastly, what powerful faction or person are you currently investigating?
The government.
Great. I love it.
They're always hiding something. You can't trust them. Do you know where your tax dollars are going? It'd shock you.
Very X-Files too, right? Like,
Oh, yes. Very
Yeah.
Scully and Mueller.
and what is Dale's starting equipment like?
Well, he's got himself a 38 Special, our good friend's favorite gun, and his bag of infinite bullshit, otherwise known as the kit.
Yeah, that's a special aware playbook thing of you just might have basically any mundane tool you need on you at any given time. What do you think your kit like looks like? Is it like a big backpack or a briefcase or
Oh, it's my bug out bag. Every conspiracy theorist has a bug out bag.
Very good. And you also, of course, get a small apartment, a used car, and a smartphone. And as you referred, your special aware playbook thing that you have to choose is your mortal relationships. The ties you have to your previous unaware life that are still a part of your life. What are your mortal relationships?
Elderly parents who always know when you're lying to them. Yeah, they really catch on to my bullshit, but it's in contrast to real life. My parents are fucking gullible. An overbearing ex-partner who constantly worries about you.
Ooh, that's a fun one. I like that.
A relationship that any listener who's familiar with QAnon would totally not understand at all.
And you've got one more.
A demanding boss who calls you into work at inconvenient times.
I love that.
That's so good.
Let's go.
What's your job?
I'm a tow truck driver. You know, it's in-demand work. It's on-call style of work because, you know, accidents and breakdowns can happen at any moment.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Let's talk to Dom next. Dom, what playbook have you chosen and what drew you to it?
I have chosen the wolf. The primary thing that drew me to this playbook is you get to play as a werewolf, and that's perfect. I mean, it is really cool. You get a territory that you get to watch over, and as the name suggests, you get to turn into a giant monster, which gives you a unique presence where you're a powerful creature, but you can only manifest some of the time.
Yeah, sounds pretty cool. Do you have a name for your werewolf?
Bobby Bristol.
Bobby Bristol. Tell me about Bobby's look.
Tall, close to average, but a little bit tall and sort of slender. But he's generally wearing baggy clothing, long shorts that have like 16 pockets. And he's got his hair is shaved at the sides and the back. And the top is woven into a plethora of like different types of braids. So he has his hair in like 4 different hairstyles at the top, kind of coming down.
And what is Bobby's demeanor?
His demeanor is going to be restless.
Restless. Bobby, the restless werewolf. What are your stats and what are you going to give a +1 to?
So my stats are blood. I have 1. I have -1 heart. I have 0 mind. And I have 1 spirit. I'm going to give a +1 to spirit, giving me 2 spirit.
Okay. And what are your starting circle ratings, and which of those are you going to give a +1?
So my starting circle ratings are Mortalis 0, Night 1, Power -1, and Wild 1. I am going to give a +1 to Night.
Cool. Yeah, you know all about the vampire, werewolf, and ghost goings on in downtown Vegas. Your starting status is going to be Knight 1 because you are a Knight aligned playbook. Your intro questions. When did you first experience the change?
I first experienced the change in my early teenage years back in my hometown, and I quickly moved to Las Vegas with my aunt.
Well, how long have you been in the city? How long ago was that?
So I fled to the city when I was 14 years old, and I am 28 years old now.
Okay, so been here for 14 years. What is the best part of your other form?
The freedom that it grants. I feel free and I feel in control of my own destiny.
Plus, he gets hung.
Get the fuck out of here.
Who is the most important person in your territory?
That's going to be my aunt who, kind of raised me here, kind of gave me a step up, and I kind of take care of her now that she's gotten sick and not really.
Is that supposed to be most important to you or most important to the city?
I think it can go either way.
That's most important to me. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Either way, that is good for me to know. I'm going to kill your aunt, Dom.
I mean,
Is she also a werewolf?
She is a werewolf, yes.
Okay.
With a gambling problem.
Good to know.
She can't stay in my house.
What do you desperately need?
I desperately need to get funds and basically take care of my the mess that my aunt kind of got us into when she sort of started neglecting stuff and got all addicted to gambling and everything. So now I'm basically trying to pay off people who are trying to buy out our territory.
Very good. And as a werewolf, you do have a territory, which is a few blocks downtown in Vegas, crime-riddled blocks that you have made your own. You watch over it, you take care of it, and you get to choose 2 benefits to this territory and 2 downsides to this territory. So tell me about your territory.
Okay, so my territory, it spans several city blocks, and I've owned it for years. I add blessing and plus influence. It's also, I am widely accepted as this place's protector, and that gives me a plus supported.
So people like you here, like they
Oh,
know
absolutely.
that this is your place, that you matter, and like the people that live here look up to you and respect you. That's pretty cool. But there's some downsides here too.
So, my territory, I owe fealty to someone more powerful than myself. I was going to say, actually, your territory is plagued by a mystical or supernatural presence, because I thought that would go with the themes that people are doing here.
Wow. So your territory is haunted and you owe fealty to somebody. Any idea of who you might owe of this? Just a general idea?
Yeah, general idea. It's definitely some high roller. I'm either thinking one of the, casinos, or a big marketing company that I'm doing basically the bidding of, so I can actually secure this power.
Okay.
Are they like vampires part of night, or are they like a part of a different?
This casino, I imagine vampires. The marketing is probably power.
Very cool. And of course, as a werewolf, you get to transform at will in the sight of the moon. You get some bonuses, some additional qualities to your werewolf transformation, in addition to the basic armor and claws that you get with it, but you also get some weaknesses unique to your beast form. Tell me about these.
So my transformation is massive, which grants me extra armor and damage in my attacks. I am versatile, which is going to give me a +1 to ongoing let it outs. I'm going to have more control over some of my, magical abilities. And I am steadfast. You fight like a small group against groups, which is just kind of a cool thing to be able to do.
Wow. So yeah, you are going to be quite potent in combat, it sounds like, but you do have some weaknesses. What are your weaknesses?
So I wanted to go with, because I just like these so much. Sometimes you lose control while transformed, because I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Just love that. And sometimes you transform when you're stressed or angry, because
involuntarily.
Involuntary, it's just fun. And then because I feel like just the supernatural power thing just kind of worked for me. So I'm like, the transformation draws attention of supernatural creatures. So it's also just super inconspicuous.
Ooh, letting out
not inconspicuous
ghost pheromones or something.
Yeah, like not a good time. Like draws a lot of attention.
Cool. I like that a lot. That leads us to our last character, Zach. What playbook are you playing and why did you choose it?
I'm playing the Tainted because it seemed really cool having demon powers and stuff and having sold my soul. Honestly, just reading them all sounded cool.
Yeah, somebody who has sold their soul to a demonic power. Lots of opportunities for me to mess with you with that. But before we get too in depth in that, does your tainted character have a name?
They do. His name is Ezra Florence.
Ezra Florence. Wow. Okay. What is Ezra's look?
He always wears sunglasses and a leather jacket, even though it's Vegas.
I thought about wearing a leather jacket, but I was like, it's Vegas.
Obviously the sunglasses is normal, but he wears them inside. And sometimes he wears a fedora.
Oh my god.
This guy's so badass.
Yeah,
Oh, and
badass.
also, hold on. I forgot to mention important. He almost always has like a toothpick in his mouth.
Oh my god, what an asshole. I hate Ezra.
I think Ezra's such a cool dude.
What is Ezra's demeanor?
Ezra's demeanor is detached.
Detached. Ooh, that's interesting. What are your starting stats and what are you going to give a bonus to?
Okay, so I start with 1 in blood, 1 in heart, -1 in mind, and 0 in spirit. And I'm kind of thinking I'm gonna give a bonus to blood.
Yeah, just being really good at physical stuff. I like it. What are your starting circle ratings and what are you going to give a bonus to in there?
Okay, my starting circle is Mortalis 1, Night -1, Power 0, and Wild 1. Oof. I feel like I feel like I'm gonna lean into Night being shit for now. So I'm actually totally gonna give myself a +1 in Mortalis because I feel like that could be fun.
Mortalis. Okay, interesting. And you, of course, do start with status 1 in the wild because this is a wild playbook. Why did Ezra trade away his soul?
Well, he did it to save his best friend when they were together in Vegas, at his best friend's bachelor party.
Nice.
Where he fell into the wrong crowd, but unfortunately for Ezra, he did not read the fine print. So it didn't really work out for his best friend anyway, and Ezra's lost his soul.
Wow. How long have you been in the city?
About 3.5 years.
Okay, so pretty new. Which fellow demonic agent do you loathe? Like, do you have a rival or, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say totally, 100% somebody else that works for that my patron also owns their soul, but he's like just
works for the same force.
Exactly,
as you.
exactly. But he's just like a huge suck up. Like he thinks it's gonna get him something or whatever.
How do you cope with your demonic dreams and hungers?
Well, my job is sometimes pretty violent. And I did choose to use a sword. So that sometimes helps with the urges, you know, when I'm...
Oh my god, just murder?
No. Only when my patron hires me
For
to.
work.
Yeah,
For work.
you know,
Okay, it's totally okay if it's for work.
Not like I'm not just going around stabbing people that don't deserve it, or well, they might not deserve it, but he hired me.
It sounds like Ezra doesn't exactly dislike his job of being a demon's hitman.
I mean, you know, he has weird demon lusty urges now. Sometimes, you know, he doesn't want them, but they're there, and you know, he just leans into it a little bit.
Yeah. Interesting. What does Ezra desperately need?
To figure out a way to figure out how to kill a demon.
Okay, so he wants to take out his patron at some point.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good to know. And then what kind of gear does Ezra start with?
Starting gear, I have a house, a car, a smartphone, and a sword.
I like this for the Tainted in particular. It says one brutal weapon of choice.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is
and you've
pretty
got some good choices, but God.
You went with sword. Let's talk a little bit more about your patron, because that is the thing that you get to define as a tainted. Your dark patron keeps you on Earth for a reason. You have jobs that you have to do for them. What are the jobs that you have to do for your patron?
So typically, I am going to be either tracking down rogue demons for them, delivering threats and messages.
Okay, so maybe not like a ton of murder necessarily.
Well, sometimes, he wants me to track down a rogue demon, to make them disappear, but,
but that's like not the everyday thing. Tracking down demons and delivering threats and messages. Very good. And then you also have a demon form that you can take, a transformation that you can undergo when you unleash the power of the demon.
Yes.
You get like some aspects to that. What do you look like when you let the demon out?
Yes, so I have glowing eyes, obviously, and demon horns and wings. Feathery, cool angel wings.
Feathery, cool angel wings.
They don't like it when I say that, though.
Well, those are our 4 characters. That was Christina, Dale, Bobby, and Ezra. But we're not done defining these characters yet, because the next part, and what I think is maybe the coolest part, is that while you guys are not going to be like a adventuring party or team necessarily at the start of the game, you do know each other to some extent. And what's more than that, you guys are going to owe each other favors, and you're going to owe favors to other people, and other people are going to owe favors to you. This is a really cool system called debt. And this is like a mechanical thing. If you owe a debt to somebody, they can cash that in on you and make you do things. And you can try and weasel your way out of that. You can try and reject a debt being cashed in, but that's going to have consequences too, maybe worse consequences to just doing whatever they want you to do. And you guys are going to be able to not just do that with NPCs, but with each other. If Dale owes Bobby a debt, Bobby is going to be able to cash that in and get something out of Dale in return. I think it's really cool. I'm really excited to see where this leads the story with these characters. But let's define what some of these debts are for. Each playbook has 3 questions. Questions where the answer to those is another character that you either did something for, or they did something for you, or you did something to each other, and now there is a debt owed. And we're going to take these one at a time. And you guys will get to assign these debts to each other, and you can't say no. If Zach says that this is what Dale's debt to Ezra is, that's the debt. And that is defining our character relationships and histories and backstories. And I think it's super cool. So let's take this in reverse order, and we'll start with Zach again. Zach, what is your first debt question, and how are you going to assign that debt?
Yeah, okay, so my first starting debt is you're protecting someone from a dark power, a rival and enemy of your demonic patron. Your ward owes you a debt. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say that I'm totally protecting Chris from evil demonic power that is an enemy of my patron, just by sheer I don't like them and wanted to piss them off. That's literally all it came down to. I was in the right place, right time for them when this person was on their tail, and did him a favor.
Nate, since you're the one who got assigned that debt, what kind of demonic power do you think was after Christina, and why?
Yeah, I think probably some powerful demons are looking for my ward.
Sure, child of an angel, demons after them, makes sense.
Yeah, and I think Ezra has just kind of helped me keep them under wraps from the wild and like their patron and people of that sort.
Very cool. And so because that is a debt owed by Chris to Ezra, that means that Ezra is going to be the one to cash that in. So Zach, you want to be the one who keeps track of these.
Okay.
So you want to make a note somewhere. Chris owes for protection against demons. You know, basically that. And the way you'll cash these in game is the book's pretty specific. You kind of have to say, hey, remember that time I did this for you? Now you've got to do something for me. So you want to make sure that you are keeping track of why a debt is owed. We're going to go to Dom, but what I was gonna say is you guys don't necessarily have to pick the first one of those if you don't want to, because one of these I do want for each of you to assign to an NPC as well. So 2 of these are going to go to another player, 1 is going to go to an NPC. So Dom, what is one of your starting debts?
So one of my starting debts that I think this will help just understanding the characters a little more. So someone lives in your territory, benefiting from your protection. They owe you a debt. I'm going to say Chris lives on my territory, as we have discussed earlier. Because something we hadn't mentioned is my gear. I have a duffel bag with my personal belongings. I have a shitty cell phone, and I have a baseball bat and a snub-nosed revolver. I do not have a house of any kind, so I'm going to live in the sanctum.
Okay, so you live with Chris, but you provide enough protection on top of that ultimately she is the one that owes a debt to you. Very good. So you are going to mark that down somewhere that Chris owes that debt to you. How about Dale? What is one of Dale's starting debts?
Someone puts up with your questions about the supernatural. You owe them a debt. And I can't think of anyone better to teach me about the supernatural than someone else like me, that's a human, teaching me, just a guy. It has to be Chris.
Oh my God.
Everyone loves me. So you owe me one debt for that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dale comes to you often enough that it's like kind of a nuisance, to the point where you get something out of this in exchange.
Alrighty.
Well, that then takes us to Chris. What is one of Chris's starting debts?
Chris owes themselves something, actually.
Yeah.
Nice.
Someone tempted your ward away from you and into danger. Ask them what it cost your ward to return to you. They owe you a debt. I think I'm gonna go with Ezra on that one.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So Ezra tempted this angel child ward away from Chris.
Oh, yeah, we probably went to an underground gambling den.
So I'm almost thinking of it as like maybe your patron knows about my ward and like tried to like get you to like bring them in.
Yeah.
And like you like partially did it, but then kind of halfway through we're like, you know what? Actually, this person's cool. And so is this wizard. And so now we're all friends. And that kind of deals with both of our debts to each other.
Totally. I took him out on the town, so to speak, with the intention of turning him over, but I'm like, oh, never mind. We'll figure something else out.
So the debt is ultimately for not doing something that you could have done.
Yeah.
Kind of, but I imagine like because they put a bigger target on my ward's back by like starting this operation.
Yeah, I was the one who initially brought it up to maybe their attention in the first place. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. No, well, I caused you some problem, but
so
let me make it up for you.
Ezra owes Christina for this.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Very good. Let's do this serpentine. Nate, give me another one of Chris's starting debts.
Okay. Someone is your go-to when you get into trouble, providing information or muscle to get things done. You owe them 2 debts. I'd like to answer this one twice, one for information and one for muscle, and give out a whopping 4 debts.
I won't stop you if that's what you want to do.
So for muscle, I think obviously I'm just going to go with Bobby here. I have a werewolf living in my house for a reason. So you're going to start with a whopping 3 debts from me at the start of this game.
Oh, man.
And then for information, my go-to guy is Silas, a Fey bartender.
Creating an NPC here. What kind of information does Silas provide to you?
So this is why I went with a circle rating of 2 in wild instead of power. Because I think this is kind of my go-to person for information on the non-mortal stuff in the city.
Yeah.
And they obviously would know a little bit more about that than the other factions. So, trying to keep in mind, like, what are the wild factions up to? The angels, the demons, the Fey court.
Okay, very cool. Back to Bobby. No, Dale. Dale is next.
I'm Dale.
What is one of Dale's debts?
Someone befriended you long before you discovered the supernatural and purposefully hid its existence from you when it mattered. They owe you a debt. And I can't think of anyone better who's been in the city longer than Bobby.
It's absolutely plausible that my character would have, like, if my character met you and they got to know each other, you were living on my territory, whatever, that I would have not told you and I would have hid this from you for a long time, for sure.
Yeah, you definitely would have hid it from me until you couldn't any longer. Because you know me, I'm that conspiracy theorist, addle-brained dude who actually was on to an actual conspiracy. And you sort of had to rein me in because I was getting too close to some pretty dangerous stuff.
Nice.
You can also just be friends, guys. You don't have to, like, live with each other or, like, in the same area. Like, you just know each other and be like, oh, we were friends, and turns out my buddy was a vampire, or was a werewolf.
So I owe you 1 debt?
Yeah, you owe me a debt for keeping secrets. Some friend you are.
Yeah, so mark that down for Dale, that he can cash in a debt for Bobby. How about Bobby? What's another one of Bobby's debts?
I'm going back and forth with these, but someone intervened on your behalf when you crossed someone powerful from another circle. You owe them a debt. So I was thinking Ezra, but Ezra has his plate pretty full right now. So I'm thinking about giving this to one of those factions that is taunting me. I think either the casino or the crossed. I'm going to say the marketing company. I owe a debt because they're helping keep the casino off my back.
Okay, very cool. Do you think your debt is owed to like a bigwig at this marketing company, or like a middle manager, or like basically a status 3 character who would be one of the most important people in the city, status 1 character, which is, comparable to your own level of influence, or somewhere in between?
Either a status 1 or 2. I'm gonna say a status 2.
Cool.
But someone who's probably trying to use me to rise up the ladder themselves.
Who would do that?
So this like marketing middle manager, protected you when you pissed off a casino. Interesting. That gives me something to work for. Okay, and then how about Ezra?
All right. Well, you hurt or killed someone's good friend or ally on your demonic patron's orders. You owe them a debt.
Who did you kill?
That is a good question, isn't it, guys?
Dom's aunt.
Dude, what the fuck, bro?
I wasn't going to say Dom's aunt. I was going to give it to Dom and say I killed one of his allies.
Okay, so Ezra owes Bobby a debt. Who do you think you did hurt or kill? Anyone in particular?
I imagine it was another werewolf that was potentially, somehow related or something, like a
Someone
cousin.
in Bobby's pack.
I was thinking like another person who did art with me, like a previous collaborator in our pack. Yeah.
Do you think it is somebody who is related to you, like one of your aunt's kids, or just another werewolf?
Just another werewolf, like a close friend.
Okay.
But
yeah, you hurt or killed. Zach, you get to decide.
Let's flip a coin. We'll leave it to fate.
Wow, Harvey Dent.
Well, no, I attacked them, and I thought they were dead, but we'll say Heads is survived. All right, Heads. Okay, so they survived.
Okay.
I believed them to be dead, but they survived.
I think it should be his aunt then.
yeah, I think it should be my aunt then.
I think it should be Bobby's aunt then.
All right.
Ezra almost killed Bobby's aunt. And Bobby's just like, or Ezra's just like, my bad, I owe you one.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't think Ezra's cool anymore. Can I just say that?
Okay, one more debt for each of you. We'll keep going serpentine style. If you guys have not assigned a debt to an NPC yet, I would like this one to be related to an NPC. So Zach, what is your final debt for Ezra?
All right. Well, someone is trying to save me from damnation and keeps suffering for it. Ask them why they care when no one else does. You owe them a debt. And I'm going to say it's this, old, like, hunter guild lady named Barbara.
Classic.
Yeah.
Killed
You owe
it.
a debt to Barbara.
Yep.
And she's trying to save you, and she's suffering for it.
Good old Babs.
Oh, Babs. And you said she's like a member of a hunters group.
Yes.
They hunt the supernatural.
Yes.
Okay.
I roll with a bunch of the hunters, even though I'm a half demon.
Cool. Okay, Bobby, your last debt.
My last debt. Someone hired you for a job and you fucked it up. Tell them why another obligation got in the way. You owe them a debt. I'm going to say my good buddy Dale hired me for a job. after finding out about the world. I tried to make up the fact that I really hid this from him, but immediately I had to fuck up the job because someone was messing with my territory. And so whatever, I don't know what you would have had me do, but I definitely messed it up. And that's on me, dude. That's on me. I owe you another debt.
You had one job.
And what job do you think that was, Dale, that Bobby fucked up for you?
Well, obviously, like every job that interests me, it involves the government. Yeah, I needed him to steal something important from them. I'll be vague about that. It could really be anything, but he had to steal something from the government for me, in the
USB drive.
Declaration of Independence.
No national treasure nonsense. Although the back of the Declaration of Independence totally has a satanic ritual etched on the back of it. No, I just needed him to grab me some documents for my YouTube channel so I can continue to spread the truth about the true nature of the world, and he failed.
Okay. Yeah, you tried to bring Bobby into your own conspiracy world after he brought you into the supernatural world, but things just didn't go right. And now he owes you one. So mark that down. Bobby owes you a debt. And Dale, your final starting debt. And I don't believe you assigned one to an NPC yet, so I'd like this to be assigned to some sort of NPC or group or faction.
My final starting debt is you're leveraging dirt you have on someone to get their help dismantling a supernatural scheme that targets innocent mortals. You owe them a debt.
All those PDFs, those darn PDFs.
And that individual is Kurt Burton.
Kurt Burton. Okay. Tell me about Kurt.
Well, Kurt's a janitor.
Nice. Nice. Let's
he
go,
works
Kurt.
at a bank or an investment firm. I haven't really decided yet. But essentially, he works for a group that are
Kurt,
basically
what are you doing?
the investors from the Venture Brothers. So they offer to pay debts, and these debts have high interest, if you know what I mean. I'm not really sure if I want it to be souls, but it is a supernatural thing, but souls.
Were you trying to think of something else, or was that the bit?
I mean, souls are kind of overrated.
Because I was like, dude, just souls. Just go with it, bros. It's gotta be souls. It's okay. It can be souls.
And sorry, what was the debt that you have dirt on Kurt, or Kurt has dirt on you?
I got dirt on Kurt. Dirt on Kurt, baby. But I'm a little confused as to how this works because, I've got dirt on him, but I owe him a debt? That doesn't make a lot of contextual sense. I'm not entirely sure what the implications are.
So you've already called in a couple favors, and at this point you owe him a favor.
That's probably the implication
to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's your guy that he generally helps you, but you owe him debt now. And he helps you because of the fucking blackmail. It's weird.
Yeah. He's been doing you a favor and hasn't asked for anything in return in exchange. But because of that, you owe Kurt. I think this is maybe less saying that you have dirt on Kurt, but Kurt is helping you get dirt on somebody.
All right, I can get behind that.
Yeah, so let's go with that. So Kurt's helping you out with some investigation, but you owe Kurt a little bit now. Very good, and I think that just means Chris has our last debt. You already assigned one to an NPC as a bonus, so you can go either player or NPC, whichever you want to go with this.
Okay. You are helping someone keep a dangerous secret from powerful members of their circle. They owe you a debt.
Mm.
For this one, I think I'm gonna go with another NPC. I think I'm gonna go with Nigel.
Nigel.
Seer, oracle, whatever you want to call it.
Fraud.
Nice.
Seen terrible things within my ward. A terrible future that they are trying to keep from happening. And I'm keeping their vision a secret from powerful members of the like wizard kind of
Hiding it
circle.
from whoever this vision would affect. Okay, cool. So Nigel owes you a debt.
Is your ward got like secret untapped evil potential?
Yeah, they're actually half angel, half demon.
Oh, that's so edgy.
They're Dante from DMC, Zach's Dante from the original Devil May Cry.
Yeah, it's a crossover series.
Very cool, very cool. That is our starting debts. There's a little bit more that we have to assign and get into. I know we're running a little longer than we normally do. So we'll power through this. But let's jump back to the city hub we talked about earlier. Downtown is going to be the focus of our campaign in Urban Shadows. And in downtown, you guys know people. You have existing relationships with some residents and with each other. So you are each going to get to look through a generated by the book list of NPC residents. You're each going to get to pick one and decide why that NPC owes a debt to you. And then you are also going to assign one more wrinkle of your relationships with each other that does not create a debt in either direction, but is going to complicate your histories with each other just a little bit more. So let's start with Chris once more. Chris, take a look through the downtown residents, pick one out, and say why that person owes Chris a debt.
I'm going to go with Mrs. Lane, a wizard and owner of an exclusive 5-star hotel who lives for gossip.
Oh, so I was going to say, so one of the owners, like, of one of the major hotels, like one of the casinos on the strip, or maybe like a little outside, like, what are you imagining with that? Because that's a very particular
Exclusive 5-star hotel sounds pretty
exclusive 5-star hotel, I would say. I mean, it's
Vegas, right?
Not in the center of the strip, but like, it's still a 5-star.
It's
like
right there. They want you to be able to walk to everywhere still.
Okay, yeah. Very cool. Sorry, and so why does she owe you a debt?
Well, my good friend Silas is also a chatty Cathy, and so I feel like I've been playing middleman, and Mrs. Lane like really likes me. Of just like, ooh, you have like all the hot goss on what's going on with the wild, and like share with me more. Like, and then I go back to Silas, give some goss from the mages circles, and get gossip in return, and it's a nice little thing I have going on.
Okay, so Mrs. Lane owes Christina for sharing some gossip. How about Dale? Which one of these residents owes Dale a debt?
Cyril Callis, a famous paranormal investigator who gives out, air quotes, free advice from the comfort of his apartment's bus stop.
Okay. Some guy just hanging out at a bus stop talking about the paranormal. Why does Cyril owe you a debt?
Well, I helped him get some totally legitimate footage that is not faked for his Travel Channel special.
Nice.
Well, what was the footage of?
I filled some dust, and he can call them spirit orbs.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so Cyril owes you for some footage. How about Bobby? Which one of these residents owes Bobby a debt?
I think Blessing, a fae whose impassioned speeches on ecological crisis can be heard outside the aquarium any time of day.
I assume Las Vegas has an aquarium. Most major cities do, right?
Yeah. I'll have to double check on that, but yeah, probably.
Yeah, if not, yeah, they've now there is. Why does Blessing owe you a debt?
I'm pretty sure that Blessing owes me a debt because I just got involved in some light eco-terrorism. Just, some group of people were causing ecological problems, and maybe, I sent them a message like, maybe, bring this kind of nonsense in our town here, So I kind of put myself on the line there.
Look, I just want to peel back the curtain for our listeners a little bit. This is legitimately like the third or fourth time I've heard Dom say that one of his characters is an eco-terrorist.
Just light eco-terrorism, right?
Light eco-terrorism.
It just, I play characters who engage in violence. It just makes sense that, hey, some of the violence is for the environment. I don't think that's the worst thing.
And so, sorry, tell me again, why exactly does Blessing owe you this debt for this?
Because I'm pretty sure Blessing is, trying to promote this, trying to stop all the evil Las Vegas corporations, and it just came to a place where, I could do you one better. Maybe I gave him a deal, but the idea being that I'm slowing down these powerful anti-ecological systems, and
I like to think Faye being, a fairy might be a little bit of an eco-terrorist themselves.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from. Like, they just don't have the strength necessary to know.
Yeah,
enforce some
look,
of this.
he had a job for him. He did the job. It was really nice. Now he owes him one.
Okay, and then Ezra. Which one of these residents owes Ezra a debt?
I guess I'm gonna have to go with Dinesh Chopra.
Sure.
He's a hunter who keeps his block of boutiques a vamp-free zones by any means necessary.
Ooh, vampire hunter. Maybe a member of the group you were talking about earlier that you run with, Barb's group. But why does Dinesh owe you a debt?
He got into a bit of a situation with a couple of other monsters. We'll say, not vampires, maybe demons. I don't know. There's got to be something more fun. A cryptid of some kind. He got into a fight with a cryptid next door. Right. And it was escalating badly, and he called me in, and I took care of the situation for him.
Okay, and so Dinesh owes you a debt for that. Additionally, like I said, you guys are going to get to complicate your relationships with each other. So Zach, I would like you to now look through the relationships in the city hub and assign one of those to one of your fellow players.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with someone recently became the owner of a legendary artifact that I've been trying to get my hands on for years, and by years I mean a couple of years because I've only been in Vegas for a little while.
Hey,
but I really wanted that
years.
thing, and I'm determined. And they won't give it to me, but I'm determined to change their minds.
So who owns the legendary artifact?
Yeah, probably Bobby.
Bobby.
Oh, let's go.
I don't know why. It's like a family heirloom or something.
Sure. Your aunt gave you something. What do we think the artifact is? Not like, I don't care what it does just yet. We can figure that out later. But what is the object?
An ornamental mask.
Oh yeah, totally.
I like that a
Totally.
lot. And how briefly do you think Ezra is trying to change Bobby's mind about this?
By probably offering you money mostly at first. That was my initial plan, just to buy it from you, but you weren't having it. So now I'm trying to figure out what else is more important to you than money.
Okay, so that is between Bobby and Ezra. Bobby, what about another one of these relationships?
Yeah, I think this is a colleague of yours has recently become a target of a powerful ghost. Why has blank agreed to lend you their services to ensure your coworker safety? I think good old Chris is helping me out because this little weird magic stuff's a little beyond me sometimes. So I think Chris agreed to help me out on account of our dynamic here.
That makes sense to me.
Help some ghost wards. Give you a little bag of salt.
Yeah, just, helps me understand ghost stuff to help keep this ghost away.
Very cool. Tyler, which one of these relationships represents Dale and one of these other characters?
Your ex-spouse still lives with you, even though you've asked them to move out time and time again. Why has blank agreed to help you remove them from the premises, even if or when things get ugly? And
oh yes,
for comedy's sake, it kind of has to be Chris, because like, oh man, what a scandal!
no.
Let's do it.
and let's dismiss some of the baggage around this claim here. I am in no way, shape, or form romantically involved with Chris. That would be weird, right? Because like I'm 40-ish and Chris is like 25 or something. That's just gross. I swear, she was the only one who picked up her phone to come and help me out with this. I would have gone with anyone else, but she's the only one that said, yeah, I'll help.
Yeah, that seems perfect.
Excellent. So Chris is helping you deal with your ex-wife. Chris, then finishing up with you here, assign a relationship.
I think I'm gonna go with you and blank go shopping at the ferry market every Sunday. What underground
so
scheme
sweet.
did the two of you accidentally uncover there last week?
Oh.
And I think I'm gonna go with Dale.
Oh.
Christina and Dale go into the ferry market every Sunday. Oh.
I think that's when all of these questions have been asked. I think Dale begged me to like take them the first time, and now it's just become ritual. Of like, oh, I have to go shopping in the ferry market. I'll text Dale. Dale will want to come.
Dale shows up with a notepad
artifacts
full of questions to ask. I like that. That's such a
Spends
great
way
image.
too much money at the ferry market every time because he's just like, oh, I gotta try everything.
But what scheme have you uncovered?
Ooh, what underground scheme did we uncover? Do you have any ideas, Dale?
They're totally sucking happiness out of people by putting on theater productions that are almost exclusively tragedies and feasting off those tears.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna go with like maybe like they're at like some of the theaters, they're like gathering like the happiness from visitors and kind of like sucking out emotions, and we caught some emotion smugglers.
Emotion smugglers. That's so good.
And they do it with the best production of Othello ever.
Yes.
Oh man.
The best production of Othello.
Okay, wait. I think I got to change mine to while doing some delivery work for a few. work for a few of the more popular demon eateries downtown. You caught someone in a scandalous situation. What did they offer to buy your silence? And why is it still not enough? And I think that's got to be Ezra. I think Ezra. I caught Ezra in a scandalous situation when I was, just doing some deliveries, helping out. And, obviously they probably offered to help me out with probably some, we could probably team up and take out some of my enemies. And I was like, meh, I'm not crazy about this because you tried to murder my aunt. And so we're still in a pretty not great place here.
Sorry, did you say what the scandalous situation was?
So scandalous, I was wondering if you had something more particular, because otherwise I'm just assigning a negative sort of weird trait to your character. I don't know if you had something in particular.
That's the spirit of this, dude.
Yeah, no, I know.
All right, no, I'm here for it.
Tell him what weird stuff Ezra's into.
Okay. I think just dude, I want to say you were just eating people a little bit just because of the demonic urges you had. Just like a little bit.
Just a little bit.
You were at my apartment, opened the fridge, and saw like a hand.
Yeah. So like,
Dude, I get it, but also not cool. I've been there, but we gotta work on
this
this.
is not okay.
That's so good. There we have it. We've assigned the residents and relationships. There's one last thing. More of a tease than anything else. Because another important aspect of this game is corruption. You will possibly, hopefully, corrupt your very essence as you play this game, becoming more monstrous as you do. And this can lead to some very powerful things in your future if you go down the path of corruption. But if you go too far, you might lose yourself entirely. Each playbook has unique ways in which a character can gain corruption, usually by going against or perhaps indulging too much in their very essence. I'd like each of you to say what your unique corruption trigger is. Let's start with Ezra.
When you persuade someone on your patron's behalf, mark corruption.
How about Bobby?
When you destroy a threat to your territory instead of driving it out, mark corruption.
Ooh. Dale.
When you ignore your mortal commitments or relationships to deal with the supernatural, mark corruption.
Oh my god, you're gonna go corrupt so much faster than the rest of us.
Nice.
And lastly, Christina.
When you ignore a genuine plea for help from someone vulnerable, mark corruption.
I'm gonna corrupt all of you.
No, but real talk, Tyler's gonna have like 3 marked in the first session.
And so you guys will be responsible for keeping these in mind as you roleplay, as the story continues. You'll have to choose whether you want to gain corruption or not, and how far you are willing to go for power. And that is what Urban Shadows is really about. And we will start our campaign in earnest on the next episode of Escape the Dungeon. Thank you for listening to Escape the Dungeon. Escape the Dungeon is created by Dom Brass, Nate Brass, Zach Brass, and Mike Cripps, with editing and original music by Tyler Knittle. If you enjoyed this show, please consider subscribing and leaving a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. To find us on social media, go to escapethedungeonpod.com.